Hello and welcome to another You May or May Not Like It. I am your host, Scott, and you can find me on Twitter at XOrsonX, and I'm here with Mike. You can find on Twitter at Review and Roast. Today, we're going to be talking to you about Season 1 of Jean-Claude Van Johnson, the Amazon Prime original series that finally has come out to satisfy the masses. Right? I believe... God, it's had to be over a year ago now that they had the pilot season where The Tick and I Love Dick and all that stuff was on. So we did a mishmash podcast for all of the pilots back then, but thankfully The Tick got picked up, which we podcasted a few months ago, and Jean-Claude Van Johnson got picked up, which just came out like 2 weeks ago. So Mike and I plowed right through that, and here we are to tell you whether or not you should watch it, because you know why? You may or may not like it.
Yeah, and normally we talk about stuff a little bit before we podcast, but I have no idea if you even liked it. You have no idea. Well, I liked it because I like Jean-Claude because he's awesome. But yeah, so we didn't even talk about it, so this is the first time we're going to sit down and actually discuss what's happening.
Well, not only that, usually before we start, we also talk about the fact that we do have a Facebook with like 13,000 or 14,000 likes, so
something like that.
Don't forget to check that one out at facebook.com/review and roast.
Yeah, and we've been a little slow this time of the season as per usual. Everybody's doing their thing, so we'll be kicking it back up in 2018. That was pretty douchey.
I was gonna say that can be our tagline. Review and roast, kicking it back up in 2018. Wow. I mean, but to that point, we literally are gonna record 3 podcasts right now. So that being said, here comes the thunder. Here comes Jean-Claude Van Johnson.
So, right off the bat, I watched the first episode again. I don't know if you did.
Of course. I
feel like I didn't like it as much. I feel like when I watched it last year, or 2016, whatever you want to call it, whenever that was, I feel like, man, I was like, oh, this is the greatest. And then I watched the first episode again, and I was like, it's pretty good.
You know what?
Solid.
I almost wonder if they, re-edited it or reshot it, because I feel like a lot of his, expressions, in the first episode, when we first watched it, when he had the hat on, he was like, and he fucking went after it. I feel like it was so pronounced, but it almost seemed dialed back. And maybe it's just because I watched it 100 times.
Yeah, I think that might be what it is. Because throughout this series, Jean-Claude Van Damme playing himself overacts in a parody to his own self, and he does it throughout. So it's he just does that just like that move right there.
Wait, what does he do?
That's what he does.
Well, here's the thing: his little his little workout montage in the pilot is
still
the fucking best. When he's trying to lift the weights and he fucking keeps just lowering the weights and he can't lift it.
And when he tries to do a backspin kick and he just totally whiffs.
Yeah, headbutts the fucking thing.
No, that actually is still quite hilarious. I mean, the opening scene is also still hilarious because he starts off. Hey, I was the most popular guy in the history of action. He's totally talking himself up, and he used to be able to do, he had the secret weapon was the splits, and he goes to do it, and he misses, and then he gets beat the shit out of. It's just, it continues on through the series, though, of him, kind of being a parody of himself, which is actually still hilarious and continues to be, but it also, it gets a little deep at times.
Yeah. So before we ramble here about episode to episode, basically what the show is about is the whole time in the 80s when he was an action star, he was actually also a secret government operative that went out and, went on all these secret missions. And this Prime original show is based around basically his spy life. But in order to do that stuff and be able to be in all these places, the cover was he was an action star. So it's actually kind of funny that they just play off of his quote unquote real life to throw in this nonsense of him being a spy. And basically what it comes down to is, like you said, he's just running through his daily life. Like, all right, you need to go home now. I need, read the paper and take my Segway to get, down the driveway to grab the mail. And he goes to the dry ramen bar where he's mistaken for Nicolas Cage. And, but when he's leaving, he catches out the corner of his eye a lady he used to work with in like the quote unquote spy agency, Vanessa. Mm-hmm. So, they were spies together, but they were also lovers, blah, blah, blah. It ended on a bad note, which is why he got out of everything. But now he's seeing her again. It's reignited the blah, blah snores. And he calls up Mrs. Huxtable.
Yeah.
And
Felicia
says,
Rashad.
Yeah. She's like, hey. He's like, I want back in. And she's like,
hey,
oh,
side
great.
note, though, did you catch that her ringtone was the Cosby Show theme?
I did not.
It was awesome.
I need to go back now. So, basically...
I was like, man, was that the Cosby theme? I think it was. Because you don't remember it. I couldn't hum it right now if I wanted to, but it was. I guarantee it. And it was awesome. So
he calls her up, and he's like, yep, I'm ready. I want back in. And she gets super pumped, and they come in for a meeting, and she's like, all right, so I got this reimagining of, some stupid fucking movie, but it's going to be animated, and you get to do this. And he's like, no. And she's like rambling off all these terrible movie ideas. He's like, no, not Jean-Claude Van Damme. Johnson is back. And she's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Flips the head, presses the button, the security comes down, and she's like, all right, what's up? Let's do this. So anywho, he's like, oh, I want to be on this case. And she's like, yeah, that ain't happening because dude's already on it. Long story short, he just wants to be on the same case that Vanessa's on because he wants to chit-chat with her and she won't give him the time of day. So he's trying to force himself back into her life. And he's like, oh, I'm totally ready. And he's kind of not. So basically what happens is they go to Bolivia where they are shooting a reimagining of Huck Finn, where he's some kind of weird karate master who's saving the world from something. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know exactly, but that's just a cover. What they're really there for is to stop this organization who is spreading this new drug called HK. Now, it's heroin cut with, was it?
Ketamine.
Ketamine, okay. So, obviously, it's a very strong and powerful drug. It's super popular, but it's also killing a lot of people, and it's taking over the world, blah, blah, snore. So the very first night, he's trying to learn his lines for the movie. He goes to infiltrate the factory where it's being made so he can put a tracker on it and they can find out, the steps you would to find who's the boss. And it's not Ted, nope.
Tony Danza?
Tony Danza, yep. It's not him. It's weird. But anywho, so they do the makeup, whatever. He's got this weird, he's got like long hair, he's got a goatee, and he's trying to stay hidden because he's just there undercover. And then all of a sudden he gets spotted, and they're like, oh, hey, Philip. He's like, huh? And she's like, I have no idea. Just go with it. So he's running around. He's like, hey, doing finger guns to everybody. And they're all like, hey, Philip. And he's like, hey, what's up? And then he runs into Philip, and that's and
he gives him the business.
He does, but this is where this is what I love the most about this show is they always find a way to refer to his old movies. So him and his guy are now arguing between Looper and Time Cop and which one is
right,
better.
Because he basically tells Philippe that he's the future version of himself to do some stuff and things, and he said something about it being like the movie Looper, and then Philippe's like, oh, what about like Time Cop or whatever?
No, he's like matter cannot occupy like space. And he's like, Time Cop? He's like, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I know. I do like that part. But yeah, they actually they get a ton of movie references in, and even some that you might not notice the first time around too.
Yeah.
Just silly ones too. But no, it's the amount of parody he does on himself is honestly, it's almost surprising.
Yeah.
That he is that cool of a dude, I guess, to just sit there and completely tear himself to pieces at this point in time. I don't know. I mean, and I mean that in a great way. I mean, it's actually
super entertaining,
awesome, and a lot of fun. It's just cool. Like, most people take themselves way too seriously to...
I'm an artist.
Yeah, actually, they even make reference to, hey, Jean-Claude, like, we know, like, back in the day, in your fight scenes, people came at you one at a time. That ain't how it really works. Then they cut to a real fight scene that he's having, and... the head henchman says, whoa, you can't all just rush in there, man. you got to get in there one at a time, otherwise we'll be hitting each other or whatever. So they proceed to go in one at a time, and he spin kicks and elbows them each in a line. It's just funny, and they continue to do that like throughout, which is actually good. So that's what I think. What you got? You got something?
Oh, I do.
What do you got?
Speaking of which, obviously Jean-Claude Van Damme plays this other guy, Philippe, who does show up later on in later episodes. He comes back. He has an acting credit, Philippe Van Damme.
Really?
On IMDb. That just makes it even
I did
much
not
better.
See that.
So anywho, there's going to be slight spoilers in here. I won't go very far with these, but there's one key person I do want to talk about, and I kind of like one of the parts I want to talk about. I have to kind of spoil some shit. So through their investigation, they end up at trying to balance his acting cover and the spy stuff all or whatever, and then you come to find out that the guy who is financing the movie, this guy Dragon,
yeah,
played by Carlo Rada, fantastic,
who you'd recognize even though you don't know the name. He's one of those B actor dudes.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you've seen a million times, you just don't know his name. But hey, Boondock Saints, Saw 5, Brick Mansions, Othello. So I mean, he's been around the block. So anywho, they're going to kind of a party at his place or whatever. And
go on.
Let me back up. Because before they go to the party, he meets him in like the lobby of the hotel.
Right, yeah.
And they're talking, and he's like, talking about, like, oh my God, the dailies. And, Jean-Claude Van Damme, he could care less about the movie. He could care less about this guy's opinion.
Yeah, he's just here to kick real ass.
He's just here to solve the crime and get back Vanessa. So, and this guy's like talking him up like he's the greatest thing
don't
ever.
forget, like, his girlfriend is like the chick from the movie or something, and they're all excited to, like, hang out with him. They just think Van Damme's the cool dude in real life as Van Damme.
Right. So as they're investigating this case, they're starting to piece together that, hey, I think this Dragon guy, Dragon, whatever, I think he might be part of the deal. And then he's sensing that, yeah, these guys are fucking not who they say they are. So it all comes to head at this party at the producer's house. And, he's basically threatening Van Damme because earlier in the series he took something that he found laying on the ground, and at first they thought it was nothing. Come to find out, it's actually super something.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy wants it back. So he's like, he's going through the whole spiel of, yeah, we got your buddy, and tomorrow at this time you're gonna meet here. You're gonna give me my shit back, or I am going to kill this guy. And just doing the typical bad guy role. And then he's like, oh, and by the way, I've been looking at those dailies, and man, they are the bomb. And like the way he goes back into his dork out mode about the movie.
Because he actually really is a big fan of Jean-Claude, which is actually awesome.
But just the way he goes back and forth between, like, I'm going to destroy your face to, oh my God, you're the coolest.
Yeah.
This
movie's going to be awesome.
The guy rules. The guy killed it in this show. I mean, he was only in it, like, 3 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was awesome. He was absolutely awesome.
So that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's actually kind of funny because, like, there's Jean-Claude's co-star in the film is Christina, who is this, Russian-born actress.
Mm-hmm.
And she couldn't be more annoyed by Jean-Claude Van Damme. She thinks the guy's a hack, and she's just, like, going through the motions because she wants to get her name on the picture. You know what I mean? She's up-and-coming actress. Then you find out later on that, no, she's really not. She is out there whooping that ass, too.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the show, it's only 6 episodes.
She's hot.
Yeah, she is super pretty. But, it's just like The Tick. You wait forever for 6 episodes, but I'm pretty sure it's coming back.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that it wouldn't. I don't...
Well, when I started typing it into Google, the first thing that came up was canceled. But then when you go to, like...
Well, that's probably just people asking.
Yeah, because
right?
you go on IMDb, it's an 8.1.
Yeah, which is actually a lot higher than it when this originally came out and we were looking at it back in the day when because they did the whole pilot season, everyone voted which show is going to get picked up. It's only going to be one, blah, blah, blah. You know, and at the time, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed The Tick, but I actually preferred this over The Tick, which I was outnumbered here, but I honestly have probably seen every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, even like the B movies, multiple times. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I probably watched Bloodsport. I mean,
twice.
Honestly, 3 times for sure that I remember. But no, I mean, I've seen so many. I mean, I don't know. When I was younger, I just thought the guy was awesome. So I do specifically remember though when this originally came out, it was hovering around like a 6.9, 7.1 area, like right around a 7, and The Tick was like at a low 8, high 7. So I was like, this sucks. And this wasn't the IMDb voting. This was like the Amazon voting. So obviously The Tick got picked up first, but then they announced that they were going to pick up all 3, blah, blah, blah. So I really wasn't a huge fan of the I Love Dick show, but I was a pretty big fan of Jean-Claude Van Johnson, and I was not disappointed.
Yeah, I literally made everybody watch it. I even went to work and told my boss he needed to watch it, and then he proceeded to come in the next day and said that his wife wants to punch me in the face because she thought it was retarded.
What, Jean-Claude Van Johnson?
Yeah, she was super pissed that I suggested it because she thought it was terrible.
Well, because people don't know what they're... Here, case in point. Crystal's like, so is he like... Did he like do movies or something before? Jesus. I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? I don't even know you. I mean, I guess. I mean, you can see that I'm getting perplexed right now, again, thinking about it. But how does anybody on Earth at this point in time not know who that guy is? I mean,
right.
I mean, I guess maybe some millennials haven't, indulged in the action-packed Jean-Claude Van genre. But, I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How do you not know? I mean, the guy's recognizable as shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just saying. And how could you have not? I mean, who hasn't seen Bloodsport? What's up? Time Cop.
Like matter cannot occupy like space.
Yeah.
So yeah. There's. It sounds like we've talked about a lot for 6 half-hour episodes, but we really didn't touch on even a quarter of it.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, again, there's a lot more to it than just ultimate parody. I mean, there is funny moments. There's good action. There's some disgusting violence, which is hilarious if you're into that. They do get a little deep into the whole why is Jean-Claude the way he is, and they actually get into his history, which who knows how much is actually. I mean, I'm sure it's not all factual, but in the show, Jean-Claude Van Damme was an orphan. Maybe he was. I don't know. I didn't look up his biography. So, I'm just saying, they get a little into some stuff, and I thought it was pretty cool.
I agree. And it's definitely worth watching because it's super funny. And it's actually kind of funny later on, too, when it actually works in perfect with Crystal. Later on in the series, the whole 6 whole episodes, they fast forward some time, and he's out polishing a statue of himself.
Oh, yeah.
And these women come up and like, oh, my God, can we get a picture? So he's like, yeah, sure. He starts cleaning up, and he does the selfie, and they're like, no, we don't want you. And he's like, oh. So he
goes to take a picture of them with the statue.
Right, and they're like, no, we don't even know what that is. We want that building over
there.
Yeah,
the art history building or something like that. Like, oh, my God, we made it. Yeah. And he's like, womp, womp.
Yeah, it's just...
He gets on his little Segway, and he's doing like 1 mile an hour.
Deflating.
Yeah.
A lot of the show is for him. But like you said, the fact that he can make fun of himself this way makes me like him that much more.
Well, it is cool, though, too, because in the show, they do the same thing where he walks into I think it was the last episode where he walks into the office and the front desk lady doesn't even know he's Van Damme.
Yeah.
But then later on, he's walking out of that one office door, and then that one dude is walking by. He's like, whoa, like, you're Jean-Claude. You know what I'm saying? And I'm wondering if that's how that must be how it actually is, where, like, if I saw him walking down the street, he'd probably have to karate kick me off a dry hump in his leg, where somebody else, he could walk right by and they wouldn't know him from anybody in the world.
From Adam.
So yeah,
That's the expression.
I guess, but whatevs. This isn't a church show. Anyways.
What?
Adam. Neve.
No.
That's where it's from.
Oh, that's weird.
Recognize your expressions.
I just
Anywho.
use them. I don't know the origins.
So let's
Waiting for the movie.
Yeah. Let's talk the numbers then.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be higher. I'm going to stick with a 7.5. Felt a little choppy towards the end.
Well, you know what they did
Well,
throughout
I know
the show?
they
They sort of jumped around a lot where you're like, whoa, what happened just now?
I caught most of that, but there were certain things like, well, I think like maybe it was episode 4 or 5 when that started up. I'm like, what the fuck did I miss in episode fucking last one?
Yeah, when they were in the henchman's office, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, where they were trying to rescue Luis.
Maybe.
Right in the beginning, because you're like, man, what just happened? He just had the meeting where he told him you're killing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the next episode sort of started like, where are we right now?
Right.
But then it was sort of a flashback moment, blah, blah, whatever. So, I think I'm at a full 8. So, I'm going to leave it right there. I'm actually probably more like an 8.5.
Well, call it. It's going to go in the record books.
Yeah, I need an 8.5 then, because then we'll balance it at an 8. I like it. For the site.
That works. Well, there you have it. Jean-Claude Van Johnson, Prime Original. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw my 2 cents in there for that. You know, Netflix puts out way more original stuff, but I feel like their stuff's way more hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Prime, I feel like everything I've watched on Prime has basically been pretty solid. So take from that what you will. I know a lot of people still aren't on the Prime train, but I feel like they're putting out quality over quantity. Where,
to be honest, I'd rather have. I mean, at this point, I don't even care about the quality. Netflix's quantity is just too much. I mean, it's literally, if every single one of their shows was amazing, it'd be like, dude, settle down.
yeah.
I mean,
Well, here's the thing.
there's shit. I just started Peaky Blinders, 4 seasons.
If it wasn't about
Which actually
quantity,
isn't bad.
like if they would stop with the shit stuff and concentrate on the quality, you wouldn't have to raise my Netflix to $10 instead of $9.
Also true.
Not that it's a big deal. I appreciate what you're doing. I'm sure people out there, some people might love some of the shit that I hate. Like the OA. I thought it was terrible. I've run into quite a few people that think it's awesome. I don't understand it, but hey.
I think that's when I started and didn't really.
That's the one with the moves. But whatever. Anywho, that was Jean-Claude Van Johnson. I'm your host, Scott. You can find me at XOrsonX. You can find Mike at Review and Roast. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Review and Roast. Find us on Instagram at instagram.com/Review and Roast or instagram.com/Star Wars Tabletop. Until next time, have a good week.